Welcome to the Angel Mystic podcast, where spiritually open minds come together to explore the wonders of angels, spiritual connections, and the art of manifesting, plus weekly angelic insights as I pull cards for the week ahead. Hosted by me, Amanda Tooke, the Angel Mystic, your spiritual midwife, to help you on your journey to a fulfilling and happy life, as seen on ITV, Channel 4, and writer for Fate and Fortune magazine. My hope is this podcast is your go-to resource for navigating life with more ease and flow. Whether you're a beginner on the spiritual path or a seasoned practitioner, join us as we unlock the secrets of connection and harness the power of manifestation to create the life you desire. Please rate, review, share and subscribe each episode as we embark on the Angel Mystic podcast. And don't forget to head over to show notes to find all the useful links to many free, amazing resources. Now let's delve in. Welcome to the Angel Mystic podcast. This episode is called What is Meant for You Doesn't Pass You By. And that is a saying that I have certainly heard lots of times, and I wanted to expand upon it in this particular episode. So, have you heard that saying before? Have you heard that maybe when you're having a bit of bad luck, somebody will say to you, or maybe when you're struggling to manifest, they'll say to you, what is meant for you won't pass you by. Well, let's delve into exactly what that means. It really depends where you're at in your life, because that sentence, I think, can go different ways. It can feel really deeply comforting if you're struggling, but it also can feel really incredibly frustrating. And it might be that you're desperately wanting something to happen and you're trying your goddamn best to manifest it, but it's not happening. It might be when something happens that you are not really up for. Maybe somebody leaves your life in whatever reason. Maybe an opportunity you want disappears. Something you've had hope for, pinned your future on even. Or maybe when money doesn't come in the time frame that you had hoped for. And it's very easy to wonder, did I miss it? Was that my chance? Have I messed up in some way? Is that it now? Is there not going to be anything better coming along? And I really wanted to talk through this today through the lens of how we manifest in terms of alignment and energy and trust. And because I personally do believe that what is truly aligned for us cannot miss us. It's just impossible. I do think as well that people misunderstand what it actually means, because it doesn't mean, oh, let's just sit back and do nothing, never take any action. It doesn't mean that we must never grow and learn and make changes. It also doesn't mean that every single thing that you desire will automatically come to you when you want it. Sometimes manifestations are a little delayed. And I know how frustrating that is, but that really is an opportunity for growth and understanding what's happening. Sometimes we're chasing things that we think we want. And when things fall apart, maybe that's a redirection. Maybe that thing that we think we really want, that alignment that we think is going to make our lives perfect, there could be something better coming along. I have had that happen loads of times for me. I think one of the biggest fears that people face when they're manifesting is they're scared of missing that moment, that chance has gone. All the angels are off again. Clever knows. They do this every time I hit record or go live. And you might be thinking, well, if I don't do this now, I'm going to lose everything. And that fear can really create an energy of panic. And that panic energy is not going to get you what you want in any shape or form. It creates a needy, grasping energy. and that is not a place to manifest from. There's an attachment. And you may have heard this before when it will come to manifesting. We have to surrender. We have to trust. But if we were to think that this is my only chance at whatever it is that we want, nothing ever better can come along, can it? Because we don't believe it is possible. But the universe is far greater than us. I mean, I always think of it as like it's got a big overview. And especially if you do manifesting with your angels, I always think the angels have got an overview of our lives and they can absolutely see what better things can come. The universe operates from possibilities, not from limitations. And when we generally want something to happen and we're aligned to that, there's often a feeling of flow. And then when it doesn't happen quick enough, we can feel that sort of resistance coming. And that resistance can bring challenges with it. But it doesn't mean to say that manifesting happens with no, like most of the time anyway, manifesting doesn't happen with all ease and flow. There will be things that we have to work on, things that we need to redirect our energy, things that we need to grow through. So there is definitely work to be done when we're manifesting. But when we are manifesting and it's not going as easy as we'd like, and it maybe feels like doors are being closed for us not being opened, and it may feel like lack energy, and we end up looking back at situations and we think, oh my goodness, that a relationship, a friendship, and maybe a business opportunity, whatever it might be, it may feel like we really need to work at it, or we maybe need to re-look at it. And we perhaps do that and we start to unpick and we think, what have we done wrong? I honestly don't think there's any mistakes in life. I think those, what we call mistakes, are opportunities for growth. But we put ourselves under so much pressure. This has to work. This has to come good for me. But when we take that off ourselves, it's surprising how quick whatever we want starts to come into our lives, and often in ways that we hadn't expected. Because there can always be something better coming along. I often talk about the story where I really wanted this particular house in Windermere, and I'd applied for it. It was a rental, and I was convinced I was going to get it, and I was excited, and I'd done a vision board, and I was telling everyone I was going to move to it, and I'd started practicing writing my address and memorize the postcode and all of this. And actually on my birthday, I found out that I hadn't got it, and I was devastated because I only had 3 weeks left before I had to move out of the property I was in, and me and my kids had nowhere to live. And it was a really hard situation to be in. But 3 people came into my shop that day, and please don't go looking for my shop because it's not there, it's all online now, and said to me, have you seen that house near the golf course? And I'd seen that house near the golf course. It was double the rent. It was like a manor house. It was incredible. Long story short, I lived there for 5 years. There was definitely something better coming along than the house that I'd pinned all my hopes on. The universe can see so much more. The angels can give us so much more than we often think. So do not put that pressure on yourself that this has to work, because sometimes we become a more aligned version of ourselves. And I think that's a really important distinction. Sometimes what's meant for you is already trying to reach you, but in a better form than you can possibly even imagine. That house that I moved to stood empty for 6 months. It was waiting for me to move into it. But my limiting beliefs told me I couldn't afford that double rent. So I didn't even go and view it. Your job when we're manifesting is to become energetically available to what it is that you want, to become someone who can receive it. And often when we're manifesting, and I was talking to some clients about this only today, how big is your ability to receive? If I asked you how big your container is to receive, what would you get? Some people get a thimble, a cup, a little dish. What about a swimming pool? What about an ocean? What do you like when people say to you, "Oh, you look nice. I love that dress." And you go, "Oh, this whole thing, I've had it ages." Receiving compliments, receiving help is all about your ability to receive. There's so many working parts within manifestation. And to get manifesting to be ease and flow, which is just my favorite way to be, we often have to pick some of these apart and think, am I really doing that? Am I blocking myself in some way? Because we really do need to allow, we really do need to trust. And I think people often don't like to do that. Maybe they're tired of, being let down. And they're being sort of protective of themselves. Maybe they're trying to predict things, trying to force things. That's not going to get manifest in the way that you want it. Trying to make something happen just causes a fearful energy. And manifesting doesn't work well with that, let me tell you. You can't grip on to something. You've just got to absolutely trust and know it will work out for you. And I often hear, "Oh, does that mean I should do nothing?" Absolutely not. No. You've got to take inspired action, aligned action. If you're manifesting a business, you need to show up. If you're manifesting love, you need to love yourself and have your heart open to love. If you're manifesting abundance, you need to be able to see abundance every day. You need to be available to receive abundance. Manifesting is co-creating with the universe. And that action feels very different when it comes from trust and not from fear. Because fear says to us, I have to make this happen. Everything has to fall into place. And trust says, I will follow the nudges, the opportunities, the guidance that are leading me forwards to what is aligned. There is a huge difference between those two energies. I'm sure as I'm talking, you can hear that, oh, I have to make it happen. Everything has to fall into place. But I'm just going to follow the nudges and the opportunities and the guidance. And this is just going to lead me to where I need to be. That is surrender. And when we surrender, that needing to control the timeline disappears because we believe in divine timing. And we don't pick apart things like, maybe I've done something wrong. We just totally trust and lean into it. And when it doesn't quite go to plan, because that will happen, maybe you can start looking at what you're meant to learn from that. Is there some golden nuggets you haven't yet discovered? What is the universe trying to tell you? The angels are trying to tell me something right now because they're tickling all over my face. And I get it that there'll be times when you feel hurt, and there'll be times when you feel like, oh, sod off, universe. That wasn't fair. And it can feel terrifying when you've put everything, all that trust into it, and it hasn't come when you thought. But I guarantee you, if you do the inner work within you, you will find the wisdom, and you will believe what is meant for you will not pass you by. And maybe something better really is coming along. And often when we get to that place, we think, well, if it had worked out the way I want it, I wouldn't have found this deeper learning. Manifesting really is about developing a deeper relationship with yourself and with trust. And that is about being honest that, you're not pretending that you're never going to feel disappointed, because you will. You're not going to get it right every time. There will be work to do within you, but there has to be that level of trust where everything moving forward feels like possibilities. And we have to trust that we are not doomed because one thing did not happen. That does not mean that we cannot manifest. We need to trust that this is an abundant universe that we are in. And there is not just a one-time opportunity for everything. We have to trust that our destiny is coming to us, as fragile as that might feel at times. But please do not think you've missed your chance, because if you live with that belief, you're going to miss your chance. But believe instead that something better is coming along. Some growth needs to happen. Some learning needs to take place, and everything is working in your favor. And I think I also want to add at this point that one of the hardest parts of manifesting is sometimes watching somebody else receive what you want. The very thing that you've been praying for, and somebody else goes and gets it. And that can bring up so much disappointment, so much sadness, so much jealousy, comparison. And then we've got shame for feeling those things because they're negative emotions. And who wants to feel those negative emotions? Not me. But it's a really human experience. It's a human response. And it's okay to be sad for a short time. Because this world is contrast, it's duality. You can't feel sad and you on its own. You're going to have the opposite feeling of that, which is happy. So you've got to have one to experience the other to balance it out. And I think if you are jealous or maybe envious of somebody else, be grateful that they've got that. Be thankful that you've seen that other people can do that. So if other people can do it, so can you. Be glad for them. Because when we are so passionate and deeply desire something and somebody else gets it, it just means that you can get it too. It doesn't mean that there's less of it for you. How can there be less love? How can there be less success or less money or less opportunities or less happiness? It isn't possible. And this is often where people tailspin into a belief, I've missed my chance. And you might see somebody else, doing exactly what you want, having that wedding, or maybe a new baby, and you're thinking, why them, not me? Maybe somebody's buying their dream house and you feel financially stuck. Maybe you see somebody doing really well with their business and you think, I can't even get mine off the ground. It's almost like the universe has just skipped over you, didn't notice what you were trying to manifest. And how do I know this so well? Because I feel it too. But when we're feeling these things, we need to rein it in. The universe didn't choose somebody else and give them your dreams. And manifestation isn't like a queuing system either. Somebody else receiving something is proof to you that it's out there and you can go for it. Because when we fall into comparison, that becomes quite dangerous territory. And we're comparing ourselves and we're judging. And actually, probably the biggest person we're judging is ourselves. But whatever you see, and on social media particularly, we're not getting a full picture. I try and be as transparent as I can, of things that I struggle with, because I don't want you to think that all my ducks are lined up, because they are certainly not. You don't know anyone's full story from the snippets that you see on social media. You don't know what people have struggled with privately, and their manifestation is not blocking yours. I often think that jealousy is a little bit misunderstood, and it's given a bad rap that if you're a jealous person, that makes you a bad person. But jealousy is really just the information. It really reveals that there's a true desire, a true longing of something that you want. And it also reveals where you feel lack and fear and almost separation from what you want. And so instead of shaming yourself around it, I shouldn't have those negative thoughts. Green is not a good color on me, all of that. You could start to be more curious with that. This is a really good journaling thing to do. And you could think, okay, what emotion is really coming up and what is it trying to show me? Because often when we're feeling jealousy, it could just reveal that you want something so deeply that's so important to you. And you might be just scared it's never going to happen. And then that fear is going to block you because it creates not happiness, it creates hopelessness. That desire that you want would create happiness in your mind, But that, oh my goodness, I've not got it yet, makes you feel hopeless. And then you're beating yourself up and your internal dialogue goes wild. Especially if you've been waiting for something for a long time and you think, I'm never going to get that. Well, as long as you think, I'm never going to get that, guess what? You're never going to get that. And I think a lot of people carry this within themselves and don't talk about it. You know, that business success that you see people having will have took a lot longer than you think. That financial freedom that somebody has would have required them doing more work than you've probably even realized. So, one, look at that jealousy emotion that's coming up within you as a place to do some inner and deeper work, because it's almost giving you evidence that you really want that. And when those things are popping up around you, but not for you, that's also evidence that life can change, that breakthroughs can happen. And you're allowed to feel disappointment and frustration. You're just not allowed to stay there. So take a breath. Remind yourself that you don't really have to force what's not truly aligned for you. You need to look at that. What I mean by that is, you know, if that's coming up for you, dig deep and ask yourself, is that what I really want? Well, hell yes. If it is, let's make it happen. And if it's not, well, that's okay. You can change your mind. You can change your mind as often as you want when you're manifesting. So I hope this has been a helpful episode. We're going to do our angelic insights. This is for the 15th to the 21st of June. Whilst I'm preparing my cards, I'm going to remind you that there is a free training happening all about manifesting, and it's happening from the 22nd of June. So if you haven't registered for your place yet, what are you doing? Get yourself on there. It's free. They're always good fun. And you'll learn lots about manifesting and yourself. So head to show notes to sign up for that. So these are the cards for the week. Monday, we are starting with the friend card. And you know what? The friend card really is about being a really good friend to yourself, because it's overdue you putting yourself top of the pecking order. So be a really good friend to yourself. And Tuesday is the fears card. So if you've got fear around what it is that you want to manifest, if there's some, you know, nervy, edgy feelings coming up, you need to address them, because you're never going to get what it is that you want until you get rid of those fears. So ask yourself that question in your journal. What is the worst that could happen? Quite often people think, oh, I want to be, you know, I hear it a lot. I want to be a millionaire. What's the worst that could happen if you could be a millionaire? Ask yourself that question. I would love to know what you get. You can tell me in the comments section. Wednesday is a love card. Well, angels once told me that there's only two things that can fix any situation. One is unconditional love, and the second is forgiveness. So here we have, I'm just checking that we hadn't got the forgiveness card as well, because that would have been a little bit too ironic. Here we have the love card. You've got to love on yourself. You've got to love on yourself hard. You've got to love on the life that you've already got, because nothing is going to change until you do. Love what you've got. Love your car that doesn't work as well as you would like. Love your home that isn't your dream home, because, and also love your debt, because it's much easier to manifest a new outcome from a place of love than a place of like resistance and fear and annoyance, believe me. Michael comes in for Thursday. Michael is the archangel that helps cut cords. So what do you need to leave in the past that you don't need to bring forward into the future? That is the day to do that. Friday, it is the release card. The release card is, again, letting things go. It's all about surrendering this week. Surrender, 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 and absolutely trust in the universe. Saturday is the nature card. Spend some time outside in nature. It's a great place to connect. Make sure you're grounding your energy too. And Sunday is the joy card. What can you do today that's going to bring you more joy? Because the more you lift your vibration, the more good things are going to come to you. That's it for this week. I hope it's been a helpful episode. Let me know your comments. And if you want me to talk about something specific, also let me know about that too. See you again soon. Bye for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and got value from it. If so, please rate, review, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It really does help in more ways than you realise. You can find out more good stuff between episodes. Just search The Angel Mystic on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You'll find me there. And I would love to connect with you more over in my free group on Facebook. Check out all the links in the show notes.